Well, shalom everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I thought we would continue looking at the ways to acquire the trait of Perishut, that is abstinence and self-control. And we're up to part 6 of chapter 15. We're in volume 3 of Rabbi Avigdor Miller's new translation and commentary of the Mesillat Yesharim, the path of the just. So let's get straight into it. Just like thinking about this causes one to acquire self-control, Perishut, in the same proportion, ignorance of these things causes him to lose his self-control because he yields to all the temptations around him. Obstacles today, when there are so many products being advertised and even things that are very harmful like smoking, advertisements for smoking show pictures of happy young people with white teeth, people on horses dashing into rivers. People don't think or even notice that there is an open statement printed on the packaging that smoking can cause cancer, emphysema, and all kinds of diseases. You see how silly the world is when there are so many people who still smoke, and that applies to everything else as well. There are things that are less harmful than smoking, but which are surely not good for people. Therefore, when a person doesn't think, he's certainly going to be targeted by all these temptations. The Mesillat Yesharim says, and spending time among the wealthy people who are able to afford more luxuries and people who pursue glory and increase foolishness. Rabbi Avigdor Miller then says, if he would spend time among them, he would simply be contaminated by their examples. What is advertised in the New York Times, dance, art, movies, theater, things that are entirely worthless. People take an interest in these things only because the papers put into their minds that these things are important. So we go along, we see a movie, we are maybe in a dark room, maybe we've got a little box of popcorn. The music kicks in, maybe there's a narration, it's well shot, there's good actors in the film, maybe there's good characters, there's a good character arc, maybe there's an interesting story or something like that, and the story sort of unfolds and then it builds to crescendo and a final act, and at the end of the day, when we leave the theater, we find that ultimately it hasn't really contributed to improving us at all. It's just taken us away from the world and distracted us from our life, and ultimately has no intrinsic value whatsoever except just entertaining us. And so we become like people who treat life like an amusement park, where we pay our money at the door and we go in and we walk around the amusement park and go on really amazing rides that give us all these sorts of thrills, and we eat really sweet foods that make us feel good in the moment, but we pay for later. And at the end of the day, that's what we're treating life like it's some sort of theme park, like it's some sort of amusement park. And we lose sight of the fact that we're actually here for a purpose, and all the while we are essentially wasting our time. The Mesillat Yesharim goes on to say, because when he sees that greatness and the importance of these wealthy people, it will not be possible that his desire to covet and emulate their ways will not overtake him. So, we look at famous people, maybe popular actors, say Tom Cruise, and we look at all the films that he's been in, all the roles that he's played, and how he's treated when he goes out into the public. He jets around the world in private jets. He can go anywhere he wants. He can pretty much do anything he wants, and we become very much envious of that lifestyle, and we say, wow, that would be great to be able to do all those things. Therefore, says Rabbi Avigdor Miller, you should avoid the company of people who live luxuriously, because their example is surely going to have a harmful effect. So the wealthy, the elite, they're people that really don't know, all the trials and tribulations of life. If they've got an issue, they'll invariably throw money at it. And yet, when we look closely into the lives of these elites, those elites, we find all sorts of dark things lurking around them. Broken marriages, people that have get involved in homosexuality and pedophilia, people that are linked to artists that have been incarcerated for doing quite horrendous things, and people that own exclusive islands where anything and everything goes, and they rub shoulders with the elite, and there's a lot of dark things that go on behind the scenes. We see that ultimately their lives are very dark, though outwardly they look like they're living the life. Even if this man will not allow his Yetzer his evil inclination, to overcome him, he'll fight back, says the Mesillat Yesharim. And nevertheless, he will not be spared the difficulty of a battle, and he will be in danger. So, why put yourself in a situation where you have to fight against these things when you can just avoid these things? You can get on with the study of Torah and being able to implement the Torah that is applicable to you in your station in life, and you can begin to grow. You can begin to learn and begin to mature spiritually, and be somebody in this world that is a pillar of strength and support and encouragement to other people. Even though he'll fight back, says Rabbi Avigdor Miller, he is putting himself in danger. So why put himself into a situation where he will have to fight against the Yetzer hara? It would be better to keep away from company that indulge in such luxuries. Ultimately, when somebody finds that their lifestyle is becoming more luxurious, you'll find that ultimately that's causing the person to become a lot softer and a lot weaker. That's not to say that we should deliberately go out of our way to live hard lives, but by indulging in more and more luxuries, we can tend to sort of lose touch with what life's really about. And ultimately, death comes to us all. And so we'll be in a rude shock as it comes to that time. And in many cases, it can come to us suddenly. Not many people, are availed being able to see death at a distance. And those that do are people that have been given diagnoses of terminal illnesses, which is probably not a very fun thing to experience either. So we want to be able to fashion ourselves into a state where we can be ready for anything, and we can be accepting of anything, whether a highly bad thing, a very bad thing happens, or a very good thing happens to us. The Mesillat Yesharim says along these lines, Shlomo HaMelech, that is King Solomon, says better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting, and that's from Kohelet, chapter 7, verse 2, Ecclesiastes 7, verse 2. When you go to a feast, you get the attitude that feasting is important. People are sitting down at tables, eating, drinking wine, enjoying music, and that seems important. And it's also fun. There's no argument that it's fun. And of course, if it's a wedding that you must go to, so then you have a duty. But people who run to a wedding whenever they have a chance, they look for good times. These people are certainly causing their minds to be stultified. They're causing their minds to be stultified. It's an interesting word. And they are the ones who will be the victims of all the temptations of the world. So occasionally you meet people like this. They're always preoccupied with going along to concerts and theatrical productions, seeing live bands. And they've always got the next live band booked. And that's the kind of the goal in the pursuit of their lives. And while that may not appear to be a sin, especially for somebody who's a Gentile, you have to wonder and think to yourself, so is this person just about sort of entertaining themselves in the best way they possibly can afford in their current lifestyles, and really pretty much entertain themselves and distract themselves with as much fun as they can have before they come to the grave. So life, people wouldn't argue that life is more than just having a good time. And you could argue the case that truly having a good time in the world is being here and fulfilling your purpose. Nothing can exceed the feeling of joy that a person gets out of knowing that they're actually fulfilling the purpose that they've actually been put on the earth. And everybody can find their purpose, and everybody can fulfill that purpose. It's not, a person can't fulfill his purpose because he doesn't have enough money. A person, will never be in a situation that I can't fulfill my purpose because I don't have the ability to. Everybody has the ability to fulfill their purpose. Fulfilling a purpose doesn't cost anything in terms of monetary value. It just costs time and effort. And I think we'll leave it there. That takes us to the subject of solitude, part 7 of chapter 15. That looks like an interesting subject. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye for now.